Hello, how you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a pleasant day. Well, I have a video here, and it's something recently that would happen to a certain demographic of Africans, and I don't know if I caught a little bit half of it, but I'm going to show you what's been going on, and this is going to relate to the recent videos that talk about this Essence Festival and how some Black Americans feel about it. But first of all, if there's some people from Africa, they need to pay attention to this. I don't.
Hi, Heather. How are you? Well, Heather found out my widowmaker with 97% stopped.
And just like that, they're home. Except, it doesn't feel like home. For the Nigerians deported from the United States in 2025, the return to Nigerian soil is not a celebration. It's not a reunion. It's a confrontation. A moment where everything they once left behind now stares them directly in the face. No warning, no comfort, no plan. And that's the real problem. Nigeria was not prepared for this. As deportees step off the plane, some still shackled, some dazed from sleepless overnight flights, there is no structured process waiting for them. No transitional housing, no formal reintegration ceremony, no psychological support desk, just long immigration queues, hurried interviews, and officials tasked with logging them like imports. These are citizens, not cargo, yet they're processed like arrivals on a manifest sheet. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, has tried to provide some scaffolding. There are job training workshops, temporary assistance programs, small reintegration funds, but these systems were designed for isolated cases, not for waves of returning deportees. In 2024 alone, just 138 Nigerians were deported. Now in 2025, thousands more are expected. The infrastructure isn't ready, it isn't scalable, it simply can't hold. And most of these returnees, they've changed. They no longer think, speak, or even dress like the average Nigerian on the street. Some have American children they were forced to leave behind. Others come back with absolutely nothing, but a detention uniform and a trauma they can't fully describe. They return as strangers in a country that still calls them sons and daughters, and once they leave the airport, they step into an even harsher reality, one marked by public suspicion, economic exclusion, and deep social isolation. Communities often see deportees as failures, or worse, as criminals. Employers hesitate to hire them. Extended families keep their distance. Friends, unsure of what really happened, quietly drift away. Some returnees find themselves homeless within days, sleeping under bridges or in makeshift shelters in cities like Lagos, Kano, or Enugu. For many, this begins a dangerous downward spiral. Without access to stable work, housing, or institutional support, some are drawn into underground economies, small-time criminal activity, or worse, fall prey to human trafficking networks. And ironically, the same young Nigerians who were deported for overstaying in America now find themselves planning new escapes, this time through irregular routes to Libya, Tunisia, or the Canary Islands. It's a revolving door of desperation, because deportation does not end migration. It reshapes it, makes it more dangerous, more secretive, and more traumatizing. Meanwhile, Nigerian politicians remain publicly silent. Deportation isn't a popular topic during campaigns or televised debates. No major political party has proposed a serious reintegration budget. No nationwide plan has been launched. Instead, deportees are treated as collateral damage, unfortunate byproducts of a global immigration war that Nigeria never chose, but is now being forced to absorb. This silence is not accidental. It is strategic, because to acknowledge the crisis would mean facing difficult truths. It would mean asking, why are so many Nigerians choosing to leave in the first place? The answers are uncomfortable. Unemployment, insecurity, education gaps, a lack of infrastructure. It's easier for officials to say they broke American laws and came home than to ask the deeper question. Why did they feel they had to leave at all? But outside of government, Nigerian civil society is beginning to stir. Networks of youth collectives, religious organizations, and local advocates are slowly stepping in. They're building informal support systems, providing meals, job referrals, legal aid, and safe spaces for the displaced. Some churches and mosques have begun organizing healing circles for returnees, quiet spaces to speak, to grieve, to be believed. Because being uprooted, detained, and dropped without warning leaves wounds that policy alone can't heal. And perhaps that's where this story ends, for now. Not with solutions, but with the questions that still need to be asked. What happens next? Should the Nigerian government take stronger responsibility for reintegrating its own citizens? Is the United States using immigration enforcement as a silent tool of racialized global control? How does a person rebuild when their entire life has been reduced to a file number and a flight manifest? We'd like to hear from you. Have you experienced deportation?
Now, this is the entrance to my story. Let's do this.
Prime Day is here, with great deals on whatever you're getting into next. What's the move? There you go, Gary.
Now, y'all know I don't be in nobody's business, but Essence Fest, we are not coming. This year, next year, the year after, until y'all realize that we are Black Americans. And we do got the money, baby. But y'all not gonna play in our face. We don't want fufu. We don't want jollof rice. We are not African. We are not Black Caribbeans. We are none of those things. We are Americans. We have our own food, our own culture, our own music. Stop playing with our top and thinking we not gonna show y'all something. We gonna show y'all. Now, if you don't get somebody Black up in there, you might as well cancel this because it's gonna be way more empty next year. We're not coming. We are not African. We're not finna cosplay as African. We do not care how anybody feel about it. This is our mother country. That's our event, and y'all need to make it what it need to be. Bye.
Black Americans are not happy with the 2025 Essence Festival. Many are speaking up about the growing Africanization of what has traditionally been a Black American cultural event for decades. This shift has been noticeable for a few years now, especially since Essence Magazine and the Essence Festival came under African leadership. In recent years, we've seen the festival slowly morph into something else. Something that feels more like an Afrobeats festival than a celebration of Black American culture. We've seen attempts to reframe New Orleans natives as Caribbean or to claim that New Orleans food is African food, but let's be clear, New Orleans food is New Orleans food. It's Black American, period. But this year, many Black Americans chose not to attend. Why? Because they see what's happening. They see the erasure of Black American identity from our own cultural spaces, and it's not okay. To make matters worse, at the Montreal Convention Center, named after Ernest Morial, the first Black mayor of New Orleans, a man who was a proud Black American, a building not just named after him, but built under his leadership, there wasn't a single American flag displayed inside the expo, inside of that building. Meanwhile, flags from various African nations were hanging proudly. Even the Jamaican flag was up, but not one American flag. And this happened on American soil in a Black American city inside a building honoring a Black American man. This kind of oversight or disrespect would never be tolerated in another country. You couldn't go to Nigeria, Jamaica, or Ghana and throw a festival that completely ignored the people of that land, their identity, and their history. But here, it's happening and it's way out of order. This is deeper than aesthetics or music. It's about cultural respect and historical truth. Essence Fest was built by and for Black Americans, and it should reflect that. But it's not, and that's why support for Essence is going down.
Culture means earth, motherland, Africa, originality. So yes, whatever it is, if you're African, go back to Africa and connect to your source. Thank you.
This is an example of why many people feel the way that they do. She has not once acknowledged Black American culture. That's disheartening because Essence Festival is specifically for Black Americans. We're welcoming of all communities, but why can't we get any shine or recognition or acknowledgement for what this festival was meant for? There's no disrespect, once again, to anybody that's African or Caribbean. Love everybody in the Black diaspora. A lot of people that are native to New Orleans have spoken up and said that this display of the Essence Festival is a disrespect to what they've grown up to know it to be. A lot of local vendors that have produced a lot of great food are not showing up there, so people are not actually getting the New Orleans experience. And it's, once again, no disrespect, it's just with our experience to Black Americans, we don't get a lot of opportunities to just celebrate the work that our ancestors have done and what we are contributing to our future.
For those who didn't peep what was going on in that last clip, some Nigerian ladies at Essence were talking, going around the circle, asking, oh, what are you? Translation, who your people? So they're talking about tribes, and they started laughing at the Black American woman in the group who said she was Black American. And they're like, yeah, by way of Georgia. So they started laughing at her, saying, oh, you're just Black American. Like, excuse me? No, not while you're on American soil. None of this disrespect will be tolerated. We wouldn't go to Nigeria and say, oh, what are you? Oh, you're just Nigerian. Like, what? It's straight up disrespect. And then look at the kickoff event. They went to a Black American school, Xavier University, shout out to Xavier, a prominent HBCU in Louisiana, to host the Battle of Jollof Rice versus Jambalaya. Yeah, look at it. It's the Jollof versus Jambalaya event, all sponsored by an American corporation, AT&T. They marketed this event as a showdown between West Africa and New Orleans. Look, this came from the official Essence Festival. Why is this happening? Because like I told y'all last year, Essence Magazine and the festival, from the festival chairman to the CEO of Essence to ownership, is African. This is why they come up with stuff like this when Black Americans don't even eat jollof. It's a tone deafness for me.
It's disrespecting our culture because y'all don't even like us. Y'all have absolutely no respect for Americans. When we wanted to be African, y'all reminded us over and over again how we're not as good as y'all. We don't know where we come from. We have a white man's last name. We're ratchet, we're ghetto. So let us be ratchet and ghetto in peace. If I wanted jollof rice, I'll go to an African convention. But nothing about Africa is even interesting to me. I don't want to dress like y'all. I don't want to dance to y'all music. I don't want to buy your oils or your mishwak sticks. I don't want y'all jealousy braiding my hair, throwing curses into my scalp. This is America. I'd much rather learn slave history. Because at Essence Fest, we should be having a battle over the best fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. I don't know. So just like you're proud of female circumcision, we're proud of hip-hop.
African people are taking over the Essence Festival with the intentions of selling African culture and heritage, okay? They're trying to sell Black people African culture and African heritage. They really feel like that we are lost and we are confused on where we come from. The enslavement of African people lasted for 400 years, over 400 years, okay? There's nobody on this earth who's going back 400 years finding relatives and trying to figure things out from 400 years ago. It's purposeless, right? My ancestors came from St. Helena, South Carolina. Just to let y'all know. And there's a lot of information on my great-great-great-great-great-grandparents and my great-uncles and great-aunts. And it's a lot of, it's Black excellence, okay? And they try to push this narrative from now to slavery or the enslavement of African people, and that's not how that works. The enslavement of African people lasted over 400 years. Within probably 200 years of the enslavement of African people, the African-American race started to begin because of the violence that enslaved Africans were enduring. But let's not take away from the fact that African American people have been around for a very long time. Stop telling us to go back to Africa. If you want to try to come in and colonize, be new generation colonizers, I just think that y'all should sell something that Black people are wanting and willing to buy. Stop thinking that we are insecure about our culture. Our culture is recognized all over the world. Without African American people, there wouldn't even be the culture in Africa. While y'all are hooting and hollering on y'all drums and bingos, and we are the reason why the advancement is happening in Africa. We are the reason. We are the culture. We are the voice. We are the celebration. We are the color. Without African American people, there would not be a lot of color in this world. Let's be very honest here.
ChatGPT gets 123 million visits a day.
Every day we're seeing more and more videos. Of course, people are just shocked. They're shocked about the delineation. And the delineation movement has just sent a shockwave across all the land of America. Even the folks are shocked by delineation. The Democrats, let me tell y'all what would happen with that. Because we have delineated, Democrats really got to tear up all their market research and throw it away and start all over because they can't put us all in one box anymore. And the Democrats really depended on us being in this all one minority coalition or all black people the same. They have to throw away their research and they're mad. They're very, very upset by that. But there's nothing they can do about this. But they have this young man who is an African immigrant, and he's making comments about the FBA. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Bro, who thought that in 2025 I will be staying away and scouting out for the racist people, but also have to be scouting out for xenophobic people, man. That is, you can't win in this country. Like, you can't win in this country, bro. Because the things I'm hearing from this whole Essence Festival, bro, the FBA, they're out of their mind, bro. The African done took all their culture. They need to gatekeep it now. They need to lock it away in the case. Like, bro, y'all be sounding so childish, bro. And I know y'all gonna be coming out here because you guys are like MAGA. Y'all be just storming people comments. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, bro, that y'all doing is a motherfucking fault. Y'all know that, right? Because nobody said that y'all can't be from America. But that whole xenophobic...
So as you heard what this gentleman had to say here, why is it that when black people in America gatekeep their culture, it's xenophobia? Why when we gatekeep our culture, it's MAGA? You're not smart at all. And I know the comprehension level is not good. Oh, don't I know the comprehension level is not good. But MAGA doesn't care nothing about black America. So how are we MAGA? How? I'm trying to figure that part out. You need to explain it. When they say that, say, okay, explain to me, give me 5 points. Or how are black Americans just like MAGA? They wouldn't even be able to come up with anything. Then this xenophobia word. No, the fact is, black Americans are saying, you're not going to disrespect our culture. You're not going to disrespect us. You're going to respect us. You're going to respect our lineage. And we're going to gatekeep ourselves. And the irony is, this brother's African. Africans are the kings and queens of that. You can't go to their country disrespecting their culture. They'll all rise up on you and put hands on you or at minimum make you leave the country. This is what I know. So with him saying that, why is it that when y'all come over here that y'all would do things that you wouldn't even allow in your homeland? Why? You better understand, this is a new day, brother. The new day is this. The same respect that you want in your homeland is the same respect we want in our homeland. Same respect. Black Americans have every right to talk about Essence Fest because the city of New Orleans is making $350 million a year off of Essence Fest. And there was a lot of black dollars going into those events. And black America has always supported Essence Fest. And what happened is, sir, is that y'all tried to take Essence Fest, make it something it's not, trying to make it a pan-African and put a lot of African spin on it, and it's not an African event. And because it's not an African event, and black Americans say so, it's not an African event, you want to get upset and say, oh, y'all xenophobia. Listen, if we were so xenophobic, you wouldn't be here. Because remember, it was us that fought for immigrants to come into this country. Them folks didn't want y'all here.
No.
They only wanted Europeans to come into this country. That's it.
No.
Anybody outside of Europeans, they didn't want them here.
No.
Johnny, you won't believe what I just found.
And let me clear this kind of. So maybe in your country, in whatever part of Africa you come from, the Caribbean, maybe your name means something. But your name, when it comes to the America, don't mean crap here. Maybe because you have a lineage, maybe you're... And I think where this comes from, because there are some wealthy people in Nigeria and in some of these countries. in Africa. But it don't mean crap to some white people there. It don't mean crap to some Americans here. So there's some people that come over here with this conceited attitude. Meanwhile, what you starting to see in that first video, what you've been expelled back to your country, and it was under the Trump administration. Trump didn't have time to ask you what your education status was. Trump don't care about your name, who you are, what your prominent name in Nigeria is, or anywhere else. And this is what you people don't seem to understand that. Your status, your class don't mean nothing here. You have been kicked out of even some parts. They didn't want you to Ukraine. There's certain parts of the world they're kicking your butt out. And I've seen the video, them kicking you out. They kicked you out of some parts of Germany, but yet you still think you're better than us. But yet some of these people come over and think that they're better because of education. And this is what pisses some black people off. I have personally witnessed this, even in my certain amount of time. Now, there are some African people who are wonderful that I've come across here in America. But you got some ones that act like jackasses, like anybody else. And it is time for these people to wake up because they got too comfortable and entitled, like he would say. That you just treat when you come to an area in some place in the United States, you get this attitude with us. And some of us don't want to blend in with you. Some of us don't want. The few of us that want to connect with you, you want to manipulate and use us. Some of you want to manipulate and think that we don't know what's going on because we're not unaware. But let me tell you something. I did my study on your country, on some of these countries in Africa. I know how the way your mindset is. I know how sometimes some of you have come to WhatsApp and you use certain platforms. And some of you, one of the greatest, biggest cons is you come to white Americans to get to a black American and pose as a white person, to give them some letter or try to get them to answer your email. Oh yeah, some of you have done stuff like that. Some of you have done credit card fraud. Some of you have been exposed on Dr. Phil. Your reputation is not looking too good over here. Trust me. And there's always some guy that Dr. Phil had to get some correspondent of all places, one of the places in Nigeria. You guys are running cons over here on some white Americans and Americans in general. So you're not really looked on the globe like you think that you are. Because maybe your name or your status or your name that you come over and you mean nothing. And so when you step outside that continent in your country or whatever, it don't mean crap. They don't care how educated you are. And if you do rise, and you might be bright, and some of you are bright, some of you really, but you got conceited, very conceited and very arrogant. That's why some black Americans are backing off. Sometimes we don't want to participate. Some of us don't, and a good percentage don't want to precipitate what you have said and the awful names you have called to describe us. But yet, when you were trying to get education in Ukraine, the Ukrainians didn't want you there. When you were trying to get someplace in China, they don't want you there. But yet you think you're higher than us. And then you use manipulative and crafty ways to get in with some of us. And in anyone in this second generation, I'm tell your people, stop this. And so now you've seen what your people going back to. And those who speak English, you go back and tell your parents in their native tongue. Black Americans have done everything to try to reach out to you. But then this is what you've done. And they just like any group of people, you get tired, get kicked and get abused. I wouldn't dare. Let's say, for example, I go to Brazil, and I'm a multi-millionaire, educated, whatever. I go to Brazil. What would I look like going down to the black Brazilians, mixed race Brazilians, and think I'm hierarchy over them? and thinking that, and I'm probably been told to stay away because they're not educated. How you think would they feel? So I come down there and I tell my children, don't deal with those Brazilians. And then you come. Do you think those black Brazilians and mixed race Brazilians will want me in their country? No. And it's the same way here it is in America. Nobody wouldn't want, and knowing that they've been to the process, because I don't know the Afro-Brazilians, what they've been through. But if I would live, I would at least come down and understand what their culture about. And they had the vest and celebrate their vest. We wouldn't go down there and take over Afro-Brazilian when they have a culture celebration. And the same thing, it's the same way over there. And if you did something like that and come down there with your conceited attitude, like you've done to us over here in America, they kick your butt out. You just because you're educated, and then you start with this condescending that you because you bump elbows with some white people in this country, and really, Trump is just showing you, he bringing back the old ways, and now the same people want to come back to black Americans, and you coming to us after you didn't shit on us and told your people to stay away. So guess what? Black Americans stayed away. Now you're seeing the very people you kiss and look up to like gods is sending you back to your country. The very people that look like you sending you back. And it's true, you were kicked out to Ukraine. They didn't want you over there. Some of you were among the different groups of Africans and they didn't even want you. They didn't want the Indians over in Ukraine. I have made videos about it, and others made videos about that. They don't even like you in Russia. Okay? Some of them Russians maybe Vladimir Putin, but most of them don't even like you over there. They're white separatists over there. See, your education, your status don't mean nothing. And who you are. But when you come to America, you talking down on black Americans. But yet you're not welcome in some parts of the world. That's a fact. You were even kicked out, and some of you were even kicked out when you was over in China. I seen an African and some American, they're the same. I don't think it was a black American, was kicked out of the hospital because you thought your money, your status, your education don't mean something. It don't mean nothing. And some of you being reminded that. So just like that first video, Trump don't care. Trump care about your status, well, who your name is, who you could connect in the politics over there. He don't care. We've been trying to tell you for the longest time how the way white supremacy is here. And you guys laughed in our face. Some of you say we're living in the past. Some say get over it. Now you seeing 4.2.0 coming at y'all. And these are some of these other groups. Now it's coming to legalization using the government law. Same thing, the same thing. Now you're going to start feeling our pain and see what we went through. Now you're going to feel, some of you going to feel the fear that we felt. Injustice that we seen. But you think you should, and then you want to run behind us. And like he said, we was the ones that protected you. You got some black American politicians that are protecting your butt, but yet you think you're a kata over them. You come over here and then you use certain things. And this is what some of you do when you want to get one of your relatives over there. You'll make a friends with an American friend. But them days are over. And just say, take a picture so we can show this to the government. Oh yeah, I was hip to that game too. Oh, I said that's what you've done. You have made a bad example of some of your fellow Africans. Now when people see, and this is you do, and cyber crime is you guys. About 50%. The gold scam, the romance scam. Let's go there. Black Americans don't do stuff like that. I ain't never heard of a black American going and trying to con somebody out their money, trying to get something out of it just to get the gain. Even the most poor, even some of us in the most impoverished won't even do some stuff like that. Or we do some stuff here But we won't do something like stuff over that what you guys have done. You the masters at that stuff. You have. It's been on. Like I said, look at guys. Go back and look at Dr. Phil about the romance scam. Men getting scammed, women getting scammed from America. And look who. And guess when they trace back, they'll take someone's photo and use to get money, and then trace all the way back. And it had to be cyber police and cyber crime, and that's one of the groups of people have done it. But you superior. That's the way you make some of you make money. You see why? It gets to all of us, white, black, and everything. See what you do. So that's why some of us stand off from you. I mean, it's not fair to put people in the same category, but this is what you've done. So just because your name is prominent in your land, it doesn't mean it's going to carry weight. Once you step outside your country, your native origin or village or wherever you come from, it don't mean crap out here. And people are starting not to like you, not just here, but certain parts of the world. You're being put out. You extended your stay. Now you got to go. And there's a few other countries besides America doing, and everybody's doing it. It's not just America. Everybody's doing this. So that's just a warning, But what you've done to that's ridiculous. We always respected you. We've been trying, some of us mostly respecting, and those who speak, go back and translate this to your relatives in that language. We've always respected them. But they never, when you come up with your arrogance, your conceitedness, and you just think you're aggressive, you're assertiveness, that might work back over there, but hey, we put you right where your spot is at. We try to offer the friendly hand, and we get crapped upon. You take advantage of us, our kindness, and then for us to say that they want to keep black people want to keep their own country, and you call and just say, "Yo, you being immature." No, you wouldn't want someone to take your culture. Imagine we dress like, and I'm not from Nigeria, and just I threw out an event, or Caribbean or any other nation. No, you wouldn't know. That wouldn't be right. My bloodline don't chase that. You come over and you take from black Americans. And then you wonder why black Americans is copying an attitude? Because and then what you didn't even put the American flag, what they come from, out of respect for those who died and fought for this country. Black Americans did that. Black Americans are the one that contribute, not just the music, the sports, but the innovative things. Black Americans did that. The ones you said are not educated, not too smart, don't know their culture. Yeah, we invented some of the things that they phased out. Black Americans did that. We fought in all four wars. Black Americans did that. The very people you shunning us. Then some you want the dollar of the black American dollar. At least some of us had the sense enough to come over to your country and give you respect and your lineage's respect. But you can't give us respect when you come to this country. And so we're sick of, we're panicking. I said, try that shit down in Brazil and see what the Afro-Brazilian do us like you do them and see what they do to you down there. Because that's the next colony down there where we at. Go down and try to take this, see how they feel. Or them South American countries. They boot your behind back up out of there. And knowing that you come down and look condescending because they're at the lowest form, they're not educated. The arrogance of you. And I'm sorry, some of you have pushed this division. Because you just because you got something and you're next to something, eventually, when you get too a little bit, prideful, they're gonna remind you, and you being reminded, and Trump shutting it down. And the only ally who you called out their name and just mocked them, it was the very people we tried to tell you, and you didn't listen. Well, good luck. Because he's getting more of you up out of here. That's what he's doing right now. He's going after. There's a woman in Boston. There's a video. There's a woman in Boston. Her brother got deported. And had to be deported back to Africa. And he didn't do any crime or anything. It was them folks that put him out. We had nothing to do with it. We didn't call ICE on you. But yet you shit on us. Nice going. But now, the very people that will give the energy that America pays attention to, you crap on us. Now, good, but that's all right. Go to your counterparts that you put on the Christ and angel-like level, the ones by their skin and their education. Let's see what they're gonna do for you. All right, then, guys. Take care. Be blessed. And black people, hold your head up. Hey, next time, don't. If they're gonna be like that, this is right now. It's economic warfare. If they can't respect this, don't spend your money. That's true. Take care. Be blessed.